themes and the shifts that are taking place. With that being said, millennials, Pluto Scorpio, Saturn Capricorn generation specifically. This would take us back to 96 to 1998. And this was actually my mother's Saturn return as well, but it was my first Saturn square. So if you're a millennial and you have Saturn in Capricorn, Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn, Pluto Scorpio, 9 times out of 10, this is also your first Saturn square around 6 to 8 years old. Your first Saturn square happens, and that's kind of like it's tension, and it's external situations that forces you to look at your internal tension. Okay, because the tension is already there. It's just the square forces you to actively do something about it, and that's where it can get kind of uncomfortable, and it's a 90-degree angle. So something has to be made right. And that might be the conflict if you're trying to figure out what's the right thing to do, because you might feel like you're in between a rock and a hard place, or things are happening that you feel you want to control but you can't. And just speaking of my own personal experience, around this time, as I said, this is my mother's Saturn return. My dad already had his first Saturn return. He was Saturn Aries, my mom's Saturn Aries. So it was crazy because they only like less than 2 years apart, shy of 2 years apart. But when I was in 2nd grade, I watched my parents kind of get into it on the porch, and I think he went to jail overnight, but we left to go live with my mother. And I was so upset because it was the last day of school, and I wanted to go so I could tell my friend, my bestie, like, hey, I'm moving away with my mom. I don't know where we're going, but we can exchange like numbers, or I could get her number or something, so we could stay in contact. And then she would not let me go to school, and I was like, okay, like I got stuff I want to do. Like, why is what I want to do, or with my feelings, or my friend, my connections and stuff is not important? Like, why is it not important? Why is it not important? And that happened again when I was in 6th grade, and there was a talent show our school was doing, and I practiced. I learned all the routines and stuff. I couldn't go to nobody else's house to practice, but I was still allowed to, while I was in school, we practiced at least to do the dance moves to doing it to Maya. And I love that album, so I wanted to do it. And she said I couldn't go because I needed to rest after the convention, the 3-day convention. And I'm like, girl, I ain't really think about that. I wanted to go dance. And I was very upset because it was like the things I really wanted to do was taken away from me because of what somebody else felt was best for me. And it's nothing wrong with your parents wanting to help you do something that's best for you, even if it's not what you want. And even me now being the parent, I definitely understand that frustration, that blockage, that challenge between me and my children when I'm doing something that I feel and know based on experience is best for the child, even when they don't agree with it and they just extremely irate or extremely frustrated, sad, conflicted emotions. I get that. But she really thought she was just doing me a solid by forcing me to rest. And even though I did end up, not being in school, forcing me to rest and all, I appreciated the rest, but it was like I really wanted to do that performance, and it was like it got taken away from me because someone thought it wasn't good for me to do something that was going to make me happy and kind of come alive in a sense. I was also thinking about during that time, if you're in 98, she got reinstated. Welcome back into the congregation. So we was able to meet people, start doing stuff with other people, things of that nature, which is cool. And then, you know, you start meeting people. That's what I'm doing. You start meeting people, and we started going out in service, and I hated it. But then last night I was thinking, like, okay, what was something good about, you know, my tenure in the organization that I could use now? And it was just, you know, one time out the month is when I felt the most motivated to go out in service. Other than that, I didn't like that. But I did like doing talks. I love doing the performative things, like doing talks. And the thing that I really liked about it wasn't so much performing it, like sitting at the table and talking. That made me super nervous. It was kind of challenging to do that. But writing the script, that was my favorite thing to do, was write scripts. And when I was in middle school, and I had took drama class, and I wrote the scripts in that too. I wrote the commercial scripts and everything, and it was so good. And my teacher even enjoyed it. He felt like it was really good, but I just didn't want to act in it. I just wanted to be the person to write. So I decided today to download a script writing application on my phone. But I'm like, I really need something like this to go on my computer to make it easier for me to, you know, write my stuff out. Because I always have different visions and dreams and fantasies and stuff like that, or even alternate endings in movies and stuff I can see happening in my mind, playing out, that it would be kind of cool to have it written out, or even, you know, created, you know, like, you know, also Ryan Coogler type shit. So I was just thinking about that earlier and started writing a story again, where I had to be descriptive as if it was, you know, for a movie or a play or something like that. And it was really awesome to have that freedom of doing that, and, you know, allowing myself to do it. And then I was like, yeah, let me go back and look and see when the last time Saturn was in Aries and what happened, and what kind of stuff I was actually going through, like what kind of changes or whatever. And yeah, it was like that moment in life where things kind of just shift. And my son, he's going through he's a Saturn Capricorn, just like I am, so he's going through his shift as well. He just graduated kindergarten, top of his class, such a smart young man, my baby. But he's about to go through that similar shift with the first Saturn square, where it's like you gotta start, there's no learning curve when it comes to what has to be taught and learned at this point. Is you just get thrown to the wolves, like you get thrown into the den, and you gotta figure out how to, you know, do whatever it is you gotta do. And when it was me, when I was going on 7, we moved from living with my dad and having that stability. I knew what I was doing every day, every week. Everything was, you know, inspiring me to be myself, be true to myself, and do the creative stuff. Like, I felt seen. And I was allowed to express myself, and I had discipline as well. But it didn't stop me from being expressive. Where that shift happened, where it was like I didn't have that, you know, energy anymore. It was very different. And it's like I had a lot of freedom to do things, but it wasn't to do the things I wanted to do. I had the freedom to do what other people expected me to do, and that was it. That was freedom. Freedom was doing what other people wanted you to do. And I feel like maybe, you know, this go around with Saturn and Aries being in my 8th and 9th house is I get to rewrite that, you know, by doing the things that I'm afraid to do, doing the things, like facing the fears of things happening or going wrong in the face, because, you know, it's not going to be that way. That's why I was like, I allow this Saturn Aries to teach me that, you know, I don't know everything, and it's going to benefit me to be humbled like that. my mother used to talk a lot about how she has Sag, Temperance card, Saturn Aries as well. So she had to go through a lot of moments where she was very much being humbled with Saturn Aries. Saturn Aries is about being humbled by Saturn, and it doesn't like being in Aries either. It likes being in Libra, because there's more than one side to any situation. And Saturn Aries always feel like, you know, it's their responsibility to make whatever situation that they're building forcibly to work. And sometimes it's like, okay, you want to put your energy into things that you want to last, yes. And starting new things is great, yes. However, sometimes when we allow ourselves to be humble and accept the fact that the universe is a mystery, it's a mystery. 12th house to Aries, right? Pisces, the universe, everything is still a mystery. We don't fully know. And that's the blind spot of Saturn and Aries, is that you don't know everything. You know what you see, you know what your vision is, you know who and what you want to be. That's the first key with Saturn and Aries, is knowing yourself. Because then when you start allowing yourself to find out new things about yourself that you might like to try or investigate and or even heal, your life can change dramatically when you allow that to happen. Again, keyword being allow. You have to allow it to happen. You can't. Aries, Mars, and energy force things to be your way. And when you don't allow yourself to have to force things to be your way, they end up actually going your way a lot better than you thought you could. But that's the thing, it's a lot better than you thought, because you got to remove that ego, Aries. And I know Leo is definitely associated with ego because of the sun, which exalts in Aries, by the way, ego. But Leo is, I feel, less about ego and just more about personality, like attracting energies, like how you attract energy. That's, I